Hello, gentlemen. I would like to first say thank you so very much for your military service. I'm here with Dr. Averhart, the National President
Good evening.
of the Montford Point Marines.
Montford Point Marines.
Yes, I have to say it a little bit
Yes.
slow.
Yes, it's okay.
And also Mr. James Carr, the Vice President of the National Montford Point Marines.
Right.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you
I'd
for
like to
having us.
ask you a few questions.
Sure.
How did you get involved?
Well, being an active duty Marine, I actually personally got involved when I was introduced to a Montford Point Marine at Camp Johnson, North Carolina, back in 1990. And I was just taken aback about when I learned that racism was in the Marine Corps, all that these African American men had to go through and endured in order to be a United States Marine. And just the simple fact of hearing this history just touched me, and I knew that I had to be a part of it. I wanted to know more about it. So I felt that it was an inherited obligation, to get involved.
Nice. Did you know about the Montford Point Marines prior to joining the Marines?
I never had heard of these guys.
Wow.
And they have a unique story.
Yes.
And it just took me, by surprise, and I was just connected.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Very nice. How about you, Mr. Carr? How did you get involved?
My story is twofold. I actually had the opportunity of training on Camp Johnson. At the time, that's where, when I came into the Marine Corps, the comm school was located. And we did a lot of our initial communications training there. But I had no understanding of what it meant. So although the camp itself was renamed after Hashmark Johnson and other things that happened, it was right during the 1970s period, you didn't understand because you were young, you were naive, you went through a period of understanding that you were coming in through a post-Vietnam era. All of these things were happening, but you didn't connect the dots. When I returned back to New York City, where I originated from, I had the opportunity to work with original Montford Pointer and some folks from the New York chapter of Montford Point, and they brought me into the chapter. You need to do this. And again, same kind of naivete. What does this mean? Well, being taken under their umbrella, you start to connect the dots. You start to understand what's important in terms of legacy and why you as an individual young man need to do those things that would help further not just their cause, but your understanding of what your place is in history. And from that, we ended up becoming national officer, chapter officers, and so on, and understanding the commitment necessary to become where we are today.
Great. Now, did you know about the Montford Point Marines prior?
Again, for me personally, you hear things, you see written literature, but you didn't necessarily connect the dots. And it was only after making that one-to-one connection with an individual who actually served there, and then having to hear their stories and having them explain to you what that meant, that's when you start to become more appreciative of why you're doing the mission of the Montford Point Marines, right? I think that has as much of a significant impact on why we do what we do, especially in the last 5 or 6 years that the President and I have been in office, because you needed to have that relationship. You needed the ability to have that interaction with an original Montford Pointer. Unless you've had that, you miss things,
Right.
because you're just part of a membership to a association or to a VFW or an American Legion. You don't necessarily understand the significance of it. But I'm proud to have spent as much time as I have with original Montford Pointers and members in general, because again, you start to understand the history. We have this expression that you leave footprints in the sand, and you do that for a reason, so that others will follow. And if you've done the right thing, from a history perspective, if you left the right footprints, people will follow.
Absolutely.
And they've done that. They've done that.
I agree. Dr. Averhart, are you the first person in your family to serve in the military, or do you have a father or grandfather who also served?
Yes, I am the first person in my family to come into the United States Marine Corps.
Okay.
However, I've had relatives that served in the Army Air Corps during the same time as the Montford Marines served. However, I'm the first Marine to serve in my family.
Wow, nice, nice. How about you, Mr. Carr?
I have an uncle who served as a tech sergeant in the United States Air Force, and my father was a steamer's mate on a naval ship, a Tortuga, during
Nice.
World War II.
Nice.